Japanese Tales. The Emperor's Finger. While visiting a certain shrine at Awazu in Shiga County of the province of Omi, Emperor Tenji decided to build a temple. This was about the year 665. But where should the temple stand? The emperor prayed for help. That night, he dreamed a monk came to him and announced that there was an excellent spot to the northwest. The monk said he should look that way right now. Waking up, the emperor saw a light in that direction. The next morning, he sent someone to investigate, and the messenger, still following the glow, came to the foot of Mount Sasanami. Far up a ravine, he came to a deep cave under a rock face and peered inside. He was face to face with an extraordinary old man who seemed infinitely holy and wise. The messenger announced that the emperor had sent him to find out why the mountain was shining, and asked the old man politely who he was. The old man ignored him. The messenger was upset, but went back to his majesty to report. "I'll have to go there and question him myself," said the emperor, and set out. His bearers brought his palanquin as close to the cave as they could, and he walked the rest of the way. The old man was still there. He had on a brocade hat and a pale violet robe, and looked more like a god than a man. Apparently, the emperor did not impress him a bit. "Who are you, and what are you doing here?" the emperor said. The old man brought his sleeves together a little, made a slight gesture of deference, and said, "Immortals have always lived in this cave." Then, after a few more cryptic words, he vanished. The emperor decided this was a very holy spot indeed, and certainly a good place for a temple. The temple, Shigadera, was built the next year, with a 16-foot-high statue of Moroku. While the construction was underway, the workmen dug up a miniature pagoda that obviously was not Japanese. It could only been one of the 84,000 pagodas distributed throughout the world, each with a relic of the Buddha inside it, by the great Indian king Osaka some 900 years before. In front of the temple stood a great lantern. For the consecration of the temple, the emperor kindled a flame on the tip of his own right ring finger and lit the lantern with it. Then he cut off the finger and buried it under the lantern in a stone box as an offering to Moroku. Having considerable power, the emperor's finger would send any visitor who was the least unclean tumbling down into the neighboring ravine. This discouraged pilgrims completely, and a priest who took over the temple much later got bored with having no visitors. The problem was that finger. The priest decided to try and dig it up and get rid of it. As soon as the workmen began, a frightful storm broke, with thunder, lightning, rain, and violent wind. This just made the priest angrier than ever, and he kept his men digging till they got to the box. The finger looked perfectly fresh and gave off a pale glue, but it soon turned to liquid and disappeared. Soon the priest went mad and died.